is a short video where I'm going to talk about how to draw the model in a 3/4 view, how to draw a portrait. If you haven't had a chance to see the first video, you might want to review that just to go over where the different features go so that you get everything in the right part of the skull. But this is a portrait of a model looking away, and we start a little bit differently. We're going to start with a line down the center of the face that just represents the midline of the face. And then we're going to find a line that represents a line that goes through the eyes. And I'm going really light here because I'm going to take these guidelines away, and I may want to massage things and change them around, and I can't do that if I go too dark. Eyes, midline down the face. Then I'm just going to kind of make up a chin here and make up a mandible coming down into the chin, and maybe even an ear. And then when I get up to the top of the head, I can go from the chin to the eyes to the head, and there we are. And then I'm going to look really carefully at the shape of the hair. And I've got hair coming maybe in front of the ear some way coming up. I'm not going to work over here on the left side of the midline for a little bit. But I am going to really concentrate on trying to get a shape of the hair that is wide enough. This is something that is also kind of built in, is this shape of the hair. We forget, we get so locked into thinking about features that we forget, of course, that we have to make an accurate shape of the skull and an accurate shape of the hair. The hair has lots of different values in it. Usually down here where the round occipital bone comes around, you can get real dark down here. But you know not to get real dark in the face, right? Sometimes at the hairline too, it's dark, and then the hair that's over is catching the light. So you just look at your model to see what you have in front of you. And again, your goal today, or the goal when you're drawing on Saturday or any other time, starting out, is to get a drawing that looks like a person but doesn't look like a cartoon. The way you can do that is not to use a heavy outline. Get the features in the right place, and then just the more you practice it, the more accurate they get. Now, I'm going to come over and really look carefully here. So the reason we call it 3/4 is from here to here is 3/4, from here to here is 1/4, and that's just kind of a name, because depending on how the model's looking, it's usually not 3/4, 1/4, but it's the model's looking away. This side of the head is bigger, and it's going to set up some asymmetry. The eye on this side is going to be smaller than the eye on this side because it's further away. The mouth isn't going to be divided in half. You probably won't see the other nostril. So I'm just really looking here, and I'm fighting myself because my brain wants to make this side the same as that side, and you can't because she's turning away. So that's why we set up everything else. Just making sure that we've got big enough over here. And then we'll start to think about what might happen with the forehead. So you kind of take a look at your forehead. At the eyebrow, you may notice that there's an indentation because of the orbit. There's a cheekbone. And I'm making this really, really light because I may not mean this exactly. See, and just even that much distance can cause a change. So you're not really committing yourself here until you get everything else kind of lined up. And I might find the neck here. Might put some shadows so that I separate out the neck from the jaw. Then I'm going to start so I'm getting this. I want this to look like the model. Then I'm going to look for eyebrows. And I'm going to look for, this is the midline of the face, so there's a little bit of space between the eyebrows, looking at what's going on with the arch of the eyebrows, and then I'm finding the inside corner of the eye. And once I do that, that helps me with the nose because I can drop down and I can find that flap that the nose is making. And then I'm going to go back and remember that the nose has a cylindrical shape with a side plane and a top plane and another side plane. And in this case, we're only going to see one side plane. And then I've got this shadow that goes between the tear duct and the eyebrow. And again, I'm not using line, I'm just using value. Now, the top plane of the nose comes down, maybe like this, I'll make it a little thinner. And then the nose turns back into the face, and we have the furrow called the philtrum. And this part of the nose is, the underplane of the nose is in shadow. So we've got side plane, top plane, underplane. And I'll just insert this flap just a little bit more so we can see it. And then the nose goes back into the face some way. And there's that little furrow. And then we've got this eye. We're looking at the eye in relation to the eyebrow and the hairline. And I know I can drop down from the middle of the eye and I can find the line that the lips make when they come together. And we'll let that, maybe not so high. And you can see that just, honestly, sometimes 1/8 of an inch will be the difference between something that's working and something that's distorted. So just don't get committed, because it's just a process of kind of moving things around until they're like you like them. And that still is a little bit high for me. Okay, that doesn't do it, I don't know what will. Now, the mouth, again, isn't symmetrical because the side on the right is closer to us, it's bigger, and the lips, you're doing everything you can do to not make these lips an outline, because that will for sure give you a cartoon. And I'm going to go ahead and just work that line a little bit more that the lips make when they come together in just a second. Now, you remember that the outside of the mouth is darkest because the mouth is wrapping around the teeth. And then the lower lip comes down and protrudes a little bit in front of the upper lip and catches the light. And I'm going to get rid of this now. And then we have a shadow underneath the mouth. Now's the time to kind of check that other edge of the face, because I always like to look at the edge of the lip, far edge of the lip, and the cheek, and the nose and the cheek. And I might just say that I think I got that a little too wide. So I'm just going to pull it down a little bit and come in and have a cheek that, or a chin that I looked at just a little more carefully. And I got to check to be sure I didn't cut off my, I'm still okay there. Oh, you know, I forgot to put a nostril in there. How about that? Okay, so nose, side plane, top plane, under plane, nostril. Now, the thing about nostrils is in this kind of a view, you might not see the other nostril, or sometimes you just see a little slight darkening there. But be sure just to draw what you see, and don't get trapped into drawing two nostrils, because we know that there are two nostrils on the nose. Sometimes you see a little bit of shadow at the edge of the mouth. If you do, you can add that. And I'll get that cleaned up. And let's come up and work on the eye. So when we work on the eye, we're looking at from the bottom of the eyebrow to the first eyelid. And this is a side view of the eye. And you know, the eye comes out of the orbit and then goes back in. And when you turn away, the eyeball blocks this tear duct a little bit. So you have one lid coming down like this, and the other lid kind of looks like it's coming a little bit to the right because the eyeball is there. So this isn't a symmetrical kind of amoeba shape like you get when you're looking straight at somebody. And again, I'm just looking for excuses to have value changes here. I'm just going to call this the eyelid. I'm going to call this the eyelashes. And remember that the whites of the eyes are gray. And the ears that we want to make, we just have to fight so hard to not make the eyeball too big. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit more shadow underneath her eye here. Sometimes you find a little fat pad right here that gives you a little bit of value. You don't want to make any of these too dark because you can make your model look much older. Unless you see them. If you see them, then you should draw them. Okay, and then I'm going to go over and get the other eye, come across, and work from the eyebrow. And this is an orbit here, so this is all going to be in a little bit darker shadow, and that's really a nice bit of value that will help you define the top plane of your nose better. And maybe, you know, maybe there's a nasal bone that you saw there or something. But again, we're talking about the top plane of the nose, maybe side plane, under plane. And then I look for the eye here. I'm looking for a little bit of value there for the eyelid. And when you're doing the eyeball, be sure to look for the shape of the white. And that's a little bit of insurance to help you not make this eyeball too dull-like. No, I put too much there, so I'll have to take that out. Right there, this charcoal just went on its own. And I always like to, after I get the eyeball, to take that one mark and wrap the eyelashes around the eyeball. So you're just looking and looking and just trying to get it as accurate as you can. Then I'm going to come up and get the ear. And we talked about the ear being a semi-triangular shaped with an outer helix. This is cartilage that usually catches the light. And then there's an inner helix, but that inside the ear is usually in shadow. And you can kind of see that there's a variation in shadow there. And then there's a little piece of cartilage here on the outside of the ear, and the ear canal gets darker right in there. So you have some indication of an ear. And then remember, at the earlobe, that's where you find the notch of the jaw, so you have that change in direction there. I'm going to change her hairdo. She looks a little severe there. And again, look for your value difference in the hair. And then it's just a matter of, you can find plane structure. So, you know, it might be that she's lit from the side, so this is all in shadow here. And it would be really helpful if that were true, because then that would help her nose. A little bit extra darkness there. We talked about the nasolabial fold. It's that fold that comes right from your nose and comes out to your lip. Sometimes you get a little bit of hollowness in the cheek. And you can kind of see that just these little changes really change the way the model looks. That's why it's hard to get a likeness your first couple times of doing this, because just those little changes make the likeness. Gotta clean it up. And try not to wreck it here while I'm trying to have just a little bit more going on there with her eye. A little bit of cheekbone. And you can see you can just keep working on this and putting more and more in. But that's your basic way to start, with a midline going down the face. Figure out what's a line connecting the eyes. Don't make this too big. Make this big enough, and don't go too dark too fast. Thank you. See you Saturday morning at 11, and we'll see if we can actually do this on a model. Okay, bye.